I want to basically introduce you guys to CSS in this video, and we have actually done something about HTML, and now we want to proceed to that of the CSS. And I want to show you the three basic ways that this can actually be done. So we do have three basic ways you can write CSS to your HTML. We do have inline CSS, we do have internal CSS, and we also have external CSS. All right, so let's get into my computer and then we can actually show ourselves how this is actually done. All right, it's really very simple, and I think I've actually done something of this nature before, but this is just going to be like a recap to what we have already done or what you even already know how to do. But let's just get in and then see how we can actually put that together right now. All right, so this introduction to CSS is going to be just like a recap of what we've already done during the time that we were just basically working on HTML. And what I want us to like do right now, I do have a folder created right here called a CSS basics, and it's just a folder that I have inside of that of a CSS. So I do have a folder called a HTML and CSS, and then I do have another folder called a CSS. Then inside of the CSS, I have CSS basics right here. And that is what is actually open on this page. All right, so let us create our own first file in here. I'm going to just call this index, and this is going to be .html, and let's make sure that we get that open, and we do have that right here. So I want to create my boilerplate. So if I do exclamation and then if I hit tab, it's going to generate this HTML boilerplate for me. So if you don't actually have Emmet installed in the editor that you're using, you can just pause the video and just type it out. All right, it's not going to take so much time. All right, so this is going to be, I'm going to just say intro to CSS. And what I want to do with this intro to CSS is going to be very simple. Just like I said that it's in a recap, we've actually done how to like basic ways to actually connect a CSS to your HTML file before now, right? So if you want to write CSS, there are three basic ways to write CSS within HTML. So we do have what we call an internal. So we have internal. All right, so this is just basically the three ways that you can actually be able to add CSS to your HTML. All right, so we are going to just basically start with this one right here. I think I just basically even need to move this to the first line in there because that's just basically the first one I'm going to start with right now. All right, and then we do have an internal. So this is actually called the internal CSS. All right, so with this inline CSS, it's really very simple. You just need to like add an attribute that is actually called a style within your HTML tags, and then whatever style you want to write. So for instance, in here, first of all, I would like to like open this up in my browser. So if we open this up, we will have an index in here, and we'll just basically have all of these things in here, right? So I'm not paying attention to this. If I'm actually paying attention, I should have just put them in something like p tags or something of that nature. All right, but I don't want you to just pay attention to that just yet. What I want to do right here for us to be able to implement this is to add, we're going to just do style right here. And then we'll go ahead and say that, let's say it's going to just basically be a background, that we're going to just change it here. So I'm going to do background. And let's say that the background we want to give to this right now is actually going to be something like navy. So if we save the changes in here, and then we'll go back to our browser right here, and then we'll refresh, you see that the background of the web page changes to navy right there, right? So this is just called inline CSS. All right, if you want to be able to make use of an inline CSS, you do it this way. Any other thing you want to do, let's say you want to change the color of the text in there, can go ahead and just change that to maybe white right here, save the changes, and then if we refresh the browser, we're going to see that the text is actually going to change to white right here. All right, so that is that, and that means we are just basically done with inline CSS. And this is really not something that is actually recommended to always do because it's going to mess your code up a lot of time, but there are some situations where you may have to just basically use it. So I will take that away, and that means we've actually done this. So the next one I want to take a look at is actually called the internal CSS. All right, and with that, you basically need to have this within your head tags. All right, so if you take a look at our tag right here, we do have it, a head tag right here, and for us to be able to implement this is what we want to do. You need to like add an extra tag here, which is actually called a style. So if I do style right here, that's a tag, and we can go ahead and then close the tag maybe down here, call that style, and it's being created. So right now, we want to tag this particular body. We want to be able to change the background of this body right here. For that reason, I'm going to just copy that, put that in here, and if I throw in my curly brackets in here, And notice how the syntax is actually situated right here. So once you mention the body section of the web application and you want to basically change the background, you're going to have to throw in this curly brackets. All right. So let's say we want to change the background, and what I'm going to do with the background this time around, I'm going to change it from I think we already got navy right here. So I'm going to just change this to coral. All right, save the changes, and you're going to notice that the background will change to coral. So if we go back in here and refresh, you see that we do have a different background right now, right? And if you want to also attack the, what is it called, the color of the text, you can just simply do color right here. And you can go ahead, let's say that the color is actually going to be, if we still use white, I don't think it's necessary. Let's do navy for the color of the text. And I'm not trying to just maybe create a perfect web page right here. I just want to like show you guys how things work, you know. So that is it. So the next one we want to take a look at right here is this external one. So notice that we do have an extra tag for that of the internal CSS, but now we want to work on that of the external CSS. And with that means that we need to create an extra file where all of these styles that we are seeing right here can actually be put into this particular page where you want it to work. And if you want to do that, it's really very simple. You want to create a file, and I'm going to just call this style.css. All right. So notice that I'm just basically calling this style.css, and the style that I do have in here, you can actually change it. If you want to call it something like theme.css, that's fine. The only thing that is really important right there is the extension called the .css. All right. So you must have .css no matter the name that you use. So right here, I want to get rid of this style that we have in here, and you save the changes right here, and then we'll refer the web page. I want to see that we do not actually have any styles any longer. But now what we want to do is we want to find a way to, first of all, let me get in here. And if I bring in that body, almost the same style with what we just did with that of the internal CSS, all right? So if we do background right here, and let's go ahead and just maybe something like this is going to be, I'm going to just do yellow this time around as the background. And let's say that the color of the text is actually going to be something like this is going to be red. And we'll save the changes. So if we refresh the web page in here, you notice that no changes are actually coming in. And the reason for that is because we need to connect this CSS to this particular HTML. And to do that is very, very simple. Let's do that right here. So to connect them, we'll do link, and then we'll do rel, and we'll set that to, this is going to be style sheet. And then after that, we need to designate the location where that file is. And in our own case, this file is actually located on the same directory as that of the CSS basics. So for that reason, we can go ahead and do something like, we're going to just mention the file name, which is just basically called the style.css. And we can go ahead and then close this right here. All right. So I want to show you the location. Look at the location right here. The two of them are in the same directory called the CSS basics, and we do have all of them not in any other folder except the CSS basics right here. So that's why I'm just kind of doing that right here, got that represented. And if I save the changes right here, if we refresh this web page, the style is actually going to come in. Look at it right there. Pretty simple, right? So if we are in a situation, maybe we do have the CSS, this particular CSS, maybe in an external file, I'm in a folder, and let's say that this is going to be something like CSS, and sorry about that. And let's say we do have this inside of this CSS right here, which is basically what most people do, and it's really cool. All right, you're going to notice something. If we refer the web page in here, the style is going to be gone, and the reason for that is because this location that where we're actually trying to fetch that is no longer correct, because we need to get into the CSS folder first before we can capture the CSS style. So we'll save the changes with what I've just done, and then we'll refresh the web page again, and notice that the style will kind of a comeback. So this is just basically an introduction to how you can actually write your CSS. We've actually done this where we did something like HTML, and I know that you already understand that. So, but I just basically want to introduce you guys to this, and we're going to actually move on to some other things in CSS at a later time. But for the moment, this is just an introduction, and I believe you like it. And if you do like that, just go ahead and give the video a thumbs up and comment in the comment section if you have any question. And if you feel like you want to follow us or subscribe to our channel, feel free to do so. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.